Hey, I'm Supats, lifelong solopreneur. Now living my life with only one passion to help solopreneurs to launch their digital products on fast track so that they can be profitable as fast as within 1 week, and they want to scale, they can join the membership. And as a bonus, I show them how they can sell their digital products all over the world using affiliates. Without further delay, let's get
What's up?
started.
My name's Roman Fisher, and I'm an actor, model, bodybuilder, and fitness coach. What initially got me into fitness in the first place was seeing my brother work out at a young age and just seeing the positive impact that it had on not just his mind, but his body as well. After that, that inspired me to start Roman Fisher Fitness. And with that, the goal was to help people see the same life changing results that I got for my own self. My current clients, Aisha, Pamela, and Maria, just to name a few, have already seen life changing results and are losing weight like no one's business. And what's really awesome is they're still seeing progress today and they feel younger and better than ever. So, if you're tired of feeling stuck and if you're tired of spinning your wheels, then all you got to do is click the application button below, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Oh, I'm so excited to have Roman as today's our guest because health is wealth. Health is the most important thing anyone can have, and many times people, especially solopreneurs, small business owners, entrepreneurs, even big business owners, they realize at the end, at most of the time, when they are actually at the verge of losing. I wanted to tell you, I read Steve Jobs' last write up and it was full of regrets. And he said, many people think that I am very successful, I achieved a lot of things, but my life was full of regrets. I didn't have friends, I didn't have hobbies. I just kept on working, and now I'm here on my sick bed. And I realized that I can trade everything except the sick bed. And he realized it at the end. He was almost actually at the last stage of his cancer, and that time he realized. And when I read that, I felt so sorry because people looked at him as a role model and people wanted everything what he had. And when he realized what he didn't have in his life and he wanted other people to know that, he wrote that. And now when I see people like Roman at such young age, yeah, he got that message and now he helped to change his own life and he changing many other lives for better. Without me going into details, let me invite Roman and let him tell about himself, about his journey, because I am really I'm really impressed when someone at this young age they take such a positive action towards their life and they change their own lives and they help other people change their lives. So without further delay, let me invite Roman, I really want to you to tell our audience about your journey. How come you got such a vast amount of wisdom at such a young age? Tell me your journey. How did you get started with your business? Just tell me more about your story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I would definitely love to do that. It's a long story, so brace yourself, but it's a really, really solid, profound, engaging one at that at the same time. So, with that said, just to really, really go back into the past and rewind, the clock several times over, I'm 26 now. So, when I first started, even before I got into anything related to fitness coaching and just the whole fitness business that I did start, all virtually, all online, I was actually first 15. So literally a whole decade and a year ago. So 11 years, all 11 years ago. That's when I first finally started that I wanted to get into fitness just in general, that I wanted to start working out for myself. for my health and my, overall physique, to, refine it, improve it, strengthen it, all those things that a lot of people want to do when they start getting into their fitness journey. So honestly, it's crazy, but how I started getting into fitness, for starters, I didn't really have a whole lot of self confidence for myself. So I was really struggling with low self confidence growing up as a kid throughout school. I would oftentimes, get picked on for not having, that football build, not being in football, playing football. Really, all I did when it came to sports in school growing up was soccer. So, not the football in America, but football in other countries. So I did play football in some regards, I guess you could say, but I wasn't, super big, super muscular, or solid built. Now, granted, I wasn't super overweight, but my physique, if I had to classify it back in the day, was more skinny fat. So I didn't have a lot of muscle. I was skinnier, but I also wasn't really defined or toned up. Didn't really have, the six pack or even two pack most people even think about, right? So that one of those things that a lot of guys, especially in my age group and below, think about. I didn't even have that. So while I wasn't, overweight, I was skinnier, didn't have much muscle, but I also wasn't really defined or toned in my stomach area either. So I didn't really feel good about myself because of that, because I was kind of in the middle of not being, fit, not really having that definition, but also not having any muscle and being more skinny. So it's kind of a weird place my body was in. So I really struggled with that growing up in school, with low self confidence, not feeling good about myself. So what brought me to that, other than just the desire to want to get better and improve my health in some way, I didn't know where to start, frankly. But this was when I first started in fitness. But when I saw, it's crazy, when I saw my younger brother pick up some weights and weight lift himself, when I was 15, seeing my younger brother weight lift, that actually inspired me to pick up the weights for myself. And so when I started to weight lift and finally pick up the weights for my own health and my own journey, I started to realize, man, I may not fully know what I need to do completely every step of the way to get fit, but this is definitely in the right direction. Like at least a step, even if it's a small step in the right direction. And so I quickly realized that while I wasn't going to see the results right away, and I was seeing, or feeling rather, the results right away in terms of getting endorphins, boosting my confidence. Just with that alone, I was getting those positive benefits a lot of people experience and get when they work out. So as I started to, weight lift more and got more consistent with it, it was hard to quit. It became nothing short of a healthy
But
addiction.
that
It
is the
literally
great
was a
addiction,
healthy addiction in
which
its
is
own
the best
right.
addiction anyone can
One of those
have.
addictions.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So many people get on so many addicting types of, patterns in their life, whether it's drugs, maybe alcohol, or maybe a combination, or it could go on and on beyond that. So the fact that I got addicted to something that was only going to help improve myself and my just longevity, really, with how long I could potentially live, and beyond that, even just my overall quality of life, just seeing that and feeling that from a young age, I was like, man, I'm ahead of the curve. I was struggling with all that self-confidence, that low self-confidence, and not feeling good about my physique, my body, and how I was feeling even mentally and emotionally. And of course, you get bullied in school sometimes when you're in that situation. So when I was starting to do this, I already felt a lot better than I ever did before, because before I would always just sit on the couch, play video games after school, see some friends maybe, and that was basically it. So literally taking this step, towards my fitness journey was huge. And it was really great. I was really coming in with the goal of trying to get a six pack, but even more importantly, just trying to get stronger and feel better. And so when I started to just do this more consistent, I consistently was feeling better as a result. And not just that, but this led me to not ever want to give up. As I was mentioning, I was so addicted to it in a healthy way. And honestly, ever since, I have not missed a single workout except for 1 week. In the whole, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but in the whole 11 years I've been at this, I've only missed 1 week of working out ever since. So that's technically how I started on my fitness journey, at least with the workouts. With that said, I wasn't really on point with my nutrition, or at least I wasn't really dedicated and focused on having solid nutrition at first. I wasn't disciplined. That's the best way to put it. I was starting to get disciplined in my workouts, but I was still lacking with my nutrition because I was still very much, prone to eating almost anything and everything. As long as it looked and smelled good, I would eat it, even if it wasn't healthy. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the times things that look, taste, and smell good aren't always good for you. They can be, but they usually aren't. And so knowing that's important to know. But I would just not really care. I didn't think anything of it. Even after I started weightlifting, I wasn't too careful. I was naturally starting to think about, okay, how much protein should I have to build muscle? All those things were starting to, little by little come into my mind and my conscious, and I was like, okay, so what should I eat? What maybe should I not eat? And then I was starting to get on that track, luckily, but I still wasn't disciplined 100%. I still had a lot of sugar cravings and sugar addictions because that was one of my shortcomings. That was one of my main struggles. It wasn't even really getting into working out because when I did it, it was easy. Ever since, I have not been able to put the weights down permanently. So I love that. But the nutrition, that was my huge struggle growing up as I got into this journey. But I will admit there were different things that came into play that actually helped me finally not just get, but fully develop the discipline I needed to honestly just swear off all these added sugars, preservatives, and honestly just junk food. All the empty calories, as they call them, and all the junk food that people don't like, or at least they might like, but they shouldn't like. That was something I was finally able to swear off after a few things happened to me in my life. So one of which, this was a really rough spot for me in life, but I grew up really close to honestly both of my grandpas, but one of them arguably even just a little closer. And so what happened was we grew up so close together, him and I. He actually lived in Wisconsin when he was still alive, and we would oftentimes meet in Wisconsin. My family and I lived around the south of the United States, specifically around Arkansas. So we would usually go up to visit him, especially with him being older. But sometimes he would also visit us in our state, and then even sometimes meet us halfway or meet us around the holidays around now for Thanksgiving, Christmas around Branson, Missouri. For anyone listening and watching, it's a pretty cool place to go to for the holidays. But that's where we would usually meet up. We got along, and he was a really close person in my life. Very close. Obviously, being family, but we also had a lot of stuff in common. I always felt a really good, vibe, energy around him, however you want to phrase it. But there was a lot of uh, just a really solid connection I had with my grandpa. He was a really warm being, just a really warm, loving person. And so we were, nothing short of close with our relationship. But what was really sudden, very sudden, and very tragic, honestly, and sad, was one of those days. This was when I was 20, so just about 20, just barely 20. So 6 years ago now. It's crazy, but it's crazy how time flies. But my mom though, this was like really serious, rough situation. But my mom actually got a call from one of her brothers, who also lived up in Wisconsin, and that's actually where my parents are from too. But she got a call from one of them, and then he gave her the very bad news, very sudden, but that my grandpa passed, and it was hard to hear. It was hard to hear, hard to swallow. I didn't know it at first. She did, and then she eventually told me and the rest of the family here with me. And that definitely was not something I took very easily or well. Of course, it more than anything put me in shock for a good while because it was just not something I was expecting. Then again, a lot of that stuff isn't very expected. Now, come to, the funeral time, that was about a month, several weeks later. I think it was just a few weeks on, we finally went to the funeral. But man, during during that funeral, that was hard for me to, put up with and honestly get through. Definitely just broke down towards the end of the funeral, especially, whenever you're with someone that you've always known and loved, and they're there but they're not fully there. It's a weird thing to fathom and honestly wrap your head around. Definitely from then on, after the funeral, following that, it really did take a huge, really huge emotional and mental toll on me, to say the least. But while that is true, I will say within a month after that, from the funeral, I then realized, this is a rough thing. It's a really rough situation. There's no denying that. There's no doubt about that. But with that being said, I can't let this fully stop me from living. Yes, I'm never gonna not be sad about it internally. It's always gonna be a sad event. It's always gonna be sad. But I have to try to somehow, some way, sometime, sooner than later, use this emotional and mental hurt and pain for fuel. And so that's ultimately what I decided to do. It wasn't easy, especially right away, but it ultimately was something I did within a month after that funeral. And so, yeah, very rough, very rough situation. But then I finally used it to my benefit because I realized he actually died from cancer. And one of the main leading reasons and causes of the cancer that he got and developed was actually from his sugar cravings and sugar addiction. And of course, as we all know, added sugar, in moderation may be okay, but when you have it in excessive, consistent amounts, it definitely does take a toll on your health. And in the long run, it's not going to pay off in a good way, as sadly, uh, didn't really for him. So because of that, I realized, man, I'm sharing the same kind of addiction he did because I was super addicted to sugars, very addicted, and that's an understatement. I used to go through a whole bag of Twizzlers. I would go through at least several different packages of Reese's, Hershey's, candy bars. I mean, the list could literally go on and on. I could literally write up a whole list of all the different candies and all the different snacks, even not candy based, but snack based. Definitely more junk food like Slim Jims, Cheez Its. I could literally keep going, but point being, it's not something I really recommend anybody to, go through. But if you are facing it, it is possible to break off of it. And so what I realized is I hated that it had to come to that, but sometimes those things, can actually push us out of our own way and push us out of our own neglect, honestly, for ourselves and our health. And I realized, man, I'm literally almost identical, if not identical. I mean, obviously, genes can help play a factor in that, especially when you're so heavily related. But there has to be a way to break the cycle. And so I realized this is going to be what I'm going to use for inspiration. I'm going to use this pain for fuel to really propel myself forward and not backward. And I'm not going to stay stuck in the same spot by any means. And I'm going to start cleaning up what I eat and what I drink. Not maybe overnight, but little by little, I definitely will make a point to do that. And over time, I will do it as if it was overnight. So I realized that's what I have to do gradually, slowly, but surely. Because I will say there was one time where I did try to do it, cold turkey overnight type of a way where I tried to just cut out all added sugar,
Ah,
going from having a lot to none, and I crashed. That was shortly after the incident with my grandpa. And when I decided to try to be healthier, I tried one day of that. I could not do it. So then I just backtracked. I'm like, okay, back to square one, but I'm going to make this work, and I'm going to make this work right for my health, in the favor of my health and well-being. And so I realized I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna have to start small and work my way up. gradually cut out some, maybe a soda every week, one soda a week, or whatever I got to do. But essentially, I did things similar to that where I would just gradually cut out certain sugary drinks and foods, just a small amount each week. I would just take it slow and gradual, but I would make sure I'd be doing it where I would effectively eventually be off of it for good. And at most, I would only give myself maybe a cheat meal after that, once a week. But then I realized I got so addicted to eating so clean because that's what I've been doing ever since now. But I got so addicted to eating certain foods that I actually started craving then those healthier foods as I was phasing out these unhealthier foods. And as I started doing that with more whole foods like broccoli, apples, chicken, and it doesn't have to just be that, but jasmine rice, literally black beans, spicy black beans. I mean, there's so many different creative ways you can make healthy eating also fun and tasty. But essentially, my point is I started craving those foods then, and I didn't really crave, Sour Patch Kids, Twizzlers, Reese's, any of that other junk stuff, junk food, junk, foods, if you even want to call them foods. So I just call it, junk stuff. So, uh, literally, I finally got that out of my nutrition though, and honestly, I not to, sound like you can't ever have a cheat meal. Once a week is fine, but I don't even have a cheat meal to this day. And so that's actually what fully got me on this journey. But when it comes to the fitness business, the next step in my journey was that. And so I realized upon getting, healthier and just more in shape, part of that, I realized, hey, I want to do some acting, I want to do some modeling. And being an actor, being a model, there's a lot of benefits to being in shape, being fit. So I realized this was that was actually something I did shortly before my grandpa's passing, but that is still something that I've been pursuing right along with my fitness as I've gone on. But then I realized, hey, outside of doing acting and modeling, which I really do a lot, and I love doing that, very much enjoy it. I also love fitness, and I also love helping people out. So when you combine those two together, that essentially gives you fitness training, fitness coaching, or in my case, I even love to call it high performance coaching. So really helping people from the ground up, no matter their fitness goal, age, where they're from, who they are, and their body type, just level up, and achieve whatever goal they may have or might have, whether it's burning fat, getting that definition, toning up, gaining muscle, or just simply increasing their flexibility, mobility, or maybe even just improving their mindset or a combination thereof. But whatever it is for them, I realized, hey, that's something else I want to do too. With acting and modeling, I think I could really do just very well in helping people transform their minds and bodies. And that's very rewarding for me. Being a humanitarian at heart and doing that self analysis and realizing that's who I was at heart, but also loving fitness, it just made sense. The transition was seamless then. And it was right around COVID too. So this was in 2020. So this was a couple of years then after my, uh, you know, about a couple of years after my grandpa's passing. Then I realized, hey, I want to actually train people now. And I was first going to do it in person because I got my certification through NASM all online. But right as I passed it, it's crazy. Right as I passed it, COVID then hit America. I was like, oh man. So any chance, any possibility, any vision of honestly working at a gym, at least for that time, was honestly shut down quite literally because of the gyms were shut down. And so I realized, well, that's not something I can do then, even if I want to. So if I'm going to keep acting and modeling, I'll do that when I can. Even though that's gotten harder then with the COVID restrictions. But then I realized if I'm even going to try fitness coaching at all to help anyone, I'm going to have to be very, very, very selective on how I do this because I can't do it at a gym. Probably just don't want to do it in person, even if I can. And I really can't with everything shut down. So then I was starting to think because then I just started to make more content, fitness content, and I just naturally like to do that anyway. But then I was reached out to by a mentor, and he actually really was offering to help me with the fitness business. But then I started to think to myself, maybe I should start doing this online because I saw that he was an online fitness business coach. And I didn't ever have the idea initially of doing the online fitness coaching, just fitness coaching in person, along with the acting and modeling pursuits that I had. But then I realized, man, with COVID hitting and literally with all the gyms shut down and closed, at least for a good while, I may as well just do this online. That way I can still pursue that facet of my future in life and purpose. And so without further ado, that's what I did. I just literally took every bit of that and ran with it. And honestly, I it felt so rewarding as I started to dive into that. And I started with the people I knew, liked, and trusted. And then from there, I branched out to people I didn't quite know, but just anyone and everyone I could find. Through some, mentorship, of course, that helped attract some clients and give me the tools and tricks and tips to get closer to what I needed to do to attract more clients. But along the way, it was very rewarding. And just seeing people go from, not so confident, not so happy, less energetic, more fatigued, more anxious, not so fit to just a much, much different, literally a day and night version of themselves. So being that mentor, being that guide has been incredible ever since, just transforming one body at a time. But yeah, that's essentially, long story short, how I got into fitness and then ultimately how I got into my fitness coaching business and really just having it online
Yes, so
and
from
having it
your
online and
story, I
helping
got
people
few
out as I've
points
gone.
which I wanted to mention. So first of all, I remember I have been gym goer. I'm a gym rat, and I had various trainers, and many of my trainers they suffered with cancer, and I always asked myself, they're a trainer, and then how come they're getting cancer? So once I went and I asked him, "You are a trainer. You are my role model. How come you got cancer?" So he clearly told me, I ignored the nutrition part. He said, I just put so much emphasis on building my muscle that I just went on eating steak like 3 times a day. And he said, all that resulted in me getting cancer. So that's why I really like your approach is a holistic approach. See, first of all, when you were growing up, you showed how just means if you are getting bullied because of your whatever your sports abilities and all, but they also that also affects on your self confidence, that also affects on many other areas. So it is a holistic experience when we are talking about physique or building body or muscle. It is not just body or muscle, it is more like your brain, your mind, your life, your heart, your everything. It is everything, it is combined. You cannot separate, okay, you are just building your body. It is not, it is everything, because once you start improving in one area, you are improving in every area. I remember when I started eating clean, I remember
Exactly.
my cravings for sweet also went away. And also the same salad which I used to eat before, and after starting eating clean, 1 week after that, the taste of salad changed. My taste buds changed. And it was so rewarding. And I remember Dr. Eric talking about it. He said, before you look at your food, just ask yourself, whatever I'm going to eat right now, whether it is going to hurt me or help me. So if you know that, okay, potato chips, they're there, okay, they look good, but
Yeah.
when you put it in your mouth, are they going to help you or hurt you? And you mentioned really good about that junk food. He said, why? I don't know why people call it junk food. And it's the same question actually to say, Dr. Eric said, I don't call it junk food, and that is the main problem people have because they put food after junk. You see, you cannot put food after junk. Yes, well, great minds think alike, because that is what I That is what I really got from your story, because it's really great mind think alike. And clean eating, it is
Yeah.
so rewarding, and the moment you start doing it, it's really means, even if you go for a party and even if they give you something, you feel after a bite, okay, I'm done, I really don't want to go and hog more and more. It's totally changes the perspective. And also, I really liked your attitude, positive attitude. So even your grandpa passed away, it was a great, it is a really huge loss for you in your life, but you turned that experience for better, means you gain, means basically lesson from that. You change your life, and now you are changing so many other lives. So that is really rewarding. And even COVID hit, you steered your business. You are flexible. You are not actually rigid, and you are not even egocentric that, okay, this is my way or no way. No, you are flexible, you are adaptable, and those are really great traits. Means it's really I learned so much from your story. And now, of course, I'm recording this session, but I will go back and hear it again and again. So just wanted to tell you, so what what is your future goal? Means what is right now you are doing online, you are doing mostly one on one. What is your focus? Means where do you see yourself going
Yeah.
from here?
Yeah, I really like that question. Very much a visionary anyway, so that's perfect. So I would have to say, continuing, of course, what I've been doing for starters. Beyond that, though, is to also ultimately launch a basic and mid-tier program as well, where not necessarily one-on-one based, but they still do get fully customized plans with workouts and meals, and then the mid-tier would be just an upgrade of that. So I don't have it fully set in place, exactly structured to the T 100% and how it's going to look and be, but that's just a rough draft, so to speak, of how I'm going to have it. And then people can just pay like monthly on, I don't know the price and all that, but they can just pay monthly for a subscription just and get those benefits to help them level up and get closer to their goals. So just like a basic and mid-tier subscription-based monthly based program, fully customized to you. So that's my next step, and then I'd say more of a long-term goal, but eventually have a supplement line and a workout gear with then later a gym, and then eventually a gym chain. So that's my like future goals, at
Also,
least when
I
it comes to
see
my
the
fitness business
testimonials
for
over
sure.
here. I have a question for you. For example, one of my gym friends, so she started on Ozempic, and I said, why are you starting on Ozempic? Because there are lots of side effects, and the latest side effect I came to know is about
Yeah.
even blindness. Oh, yeah, that is the latest side effect. There are many side effects. I
Oh
don't want to
wow.
go
Yeah.
into details of that. You can Google and you can find it. So I asked her, why are you starting on Ozempic? Because you know these are the side effects. And mm, many times people think, oh, those are for others. I may not have those. So, really, I wanted to. What she told me, she said she is over 50, and she said her metabolism has gone really down, and she doesn't think she can lose weight. So what can you say in such cases? Because I see there are people, they are hurting, and they are opting for such decisions. So do you have any solution for this kind of people? Because even Ozempic is not that cheap, but people are willing to pay over there. And I really
Right.
feel maybe because they don't know what other
Yeah.
options are available. So what is your answer for that?
Yeah, for sure. So in regards to that, just first and foremost, like you mentioned, just from the get-go, I would yeah, recommend anyone that's either on or even possibly potentially considering Ozempic or any, weight loss type of drug or supplement like that. I would really recommend them to stray away from it, whether they've tried it or not tried it or and are planning to. I would definitely stray away from that and any and all uh, you know, prescriptions possible related to that. Of course, it might get the job done, but then there's so many, like you said, side effects that are not worth even potentially having. Even if you don't get it, that's great. But the problem is you never know, and you're really playing with fire, to say the least. I mean, that's your vision. I mean, like that's just something you're not going to get back, really. So I definitely wouldn't play around with that, and I would steer clear of that first and foremost. That's just number one. Always number one priority is don't sacrifice your health and well being, whether it's your eye health, any other part of your body's health, for certain results. Don't sacrifice that just to help one other part of your body. Yes, you want to get the results, and I get that, and that's great. But don't look for a quick, shortcut. And that's where a lot of people, just to be totally blunt, screw themselves over. They screw themselves over because they try to find a shortcut to that goal, thus creating a whole nother series of problems for themselves. Then they're trying to fix that. And sometimes I don't want to be that guy that says this, but you can only fix so much too. If it's something like blindness, to my knowledge, of course, that's out of my realm as far as expertise goes, but there's only so much you can do with that. So definitely just be careful with whatever you do, but stray away from things like this, especially when the side effects and the stakes are that high. Number one, I really had to stress that point home. Number two, I would consider tracking your food if you're not already, because a lot of people don't track their food, but also track what they're drinking. And so there's a lot of, hidden calories, so to speak, that people don't always take into account. Sometimes they're tracking what they're eating. That's great, but they're missing the fact that they're drinking their calories sometimes. So all that goes together as part of your overall calories for your day for what you eat and drink both. So making sure you're tracking, you don't have to be exactly to the calorie all the time to get results, but it does help to still have a good idea of how many calories you need, throughout the day and what your deficit is. So essentially, what a good general rule of thumb I found is finding out how many calories you burn throughout the day between at rest and your activity level, between work and maybe workouts at the gym or home or both. When you get that added up together, that's your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. Basically, how many calories you burn fully throughout the day. When you finally get that figured out, just be in 200 calories below that. So basically, in a 200 calorie deficit, that way it's not too low, but it's also low enough where you can still burn fat because you got to at least be in a small deficit to lose weight. And then from there, again, like I was saying, track what you're eating, whether it's pen to paper, pencil to paper, or a notepad on your phone, or using an app such as perhaps MyFitnessPal to track what you're eating. And that's a good way. It's a good modern day way of tracking what you're eating and drinking. So making sure you're doing that and keeping your protein high as well has been very, very foundational, very, very effective. Because when you get in at least zero point 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight, this helps your body maintain muscle mass, which is key to staying lean and keeping your metabolism higher. But then also, it's going to make you full a lot easier and a lot longer because protein is the most satiating or filling, in other words, macronutrient compared to fats and even carbs, both alike. So that's also very important to note and know. And then I'd have to say, beyond that, make sure you're still getting in your vegetables, fiber, because fiber is also going to keep you full and healthy and feeling good and feeling good. So making sure you're at least getting in 20 to 30% of your calories from fat and the remaining from carbs and having a well
Oh, yeah.
balanced meal. Don't fall for fad diets. Just don't. And then that's, yeah, because those just don't work. At least they don't work long term. So that's the next thing, tracking your meals, keeping your protein higher than lower, and making sure 20 to 30% of your calories from fat, the remaining from carbs after that. And then, honestly, from there, consider reverse dieting. I don't talk about this a lot, and I haven't honestly talked about this a lot on a lot of shows I've been on, but this is also one of the tips I've been wanting to bring up on a show. And here we are. So, reverse dieting is also very effective to jumpstart or really boost your metabolism as well, in addition to everything else I've just laid out. Essentially, reverse dieting is, you might be, depending on how you're eating and how many calories you have, is essentially what reverse dieting will be in this scenario. So let's say you're eating a very low amount of calories, then you would basically add on a few hundred calories to that to reverse diet and basically give your body some more fuel and calories, not maybe sticking to that exact count permanently, but just doing that for a week to reset your metabolism. Then from there, you can pivot and honestly go to the deficit calories you need to be in from there. Because sometimes I will say why people need to reverse diet is perhaps, and it's usually because people are in such a low amount of calories they're eating and consuming that they're stalling their metabolism. So sometimes people are eating so low in their calories where they're stalling their
That's me.
metabolism.
That's me.
So sometimes you just
That's
got to
me
eat
because
a
I was
good
so
bit
scared to
more,
eat, and
even if
my
it's,
body actually
yeah,
went into the fasting mode. So my body thought she just fasting, fasting, fasting. So body was just, I'm not letting lose any fat because this girl is not eating anything. I'm not letting her lose anything, and it was working totally against me. And so stocking your body is so important. It is so
yeah.
important. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you're good. But yeah, that's exactly it though. Sometimes you just got to be, because a lot of people make that mistake and problem for themselves where they'll eat so low in their calories, they'll eat so little, thinking that's gonna, lose weight, because the less you eat, the more you lose. Typically, that is true, but it also can be to the full extent where it actually works against you at some point. So if you're
Oh
way
yeah.
too low in your calories, your body's going to hold on to any weight and usually fat that it can. So it's to survive, because your body's in starvation or survival mode, which is a good thing actually by the end of the day, because you got to have that to survive. But with that said, make sure when your body's like that, because that is part of why people are struggling to lose weight and lose fat. Sometimes just add on 200 to 300 calories. And sometimes, if you're really low, maybe you need to add on 500 calories if you're super low, just to really jumpstart your metabolism, to give your body that fuel where it's like, okay, got some energy, got some fuel. Okay, I think I know what I got to do now. So then, when your body's adjusted and acclimated to where it needs to be, then just go from there to for a week. And then after that week of reverse dieting, go back to your deficit calories, whatever that needs to be.
That's a
And then
really
from there, it's going to make it so much easier to finally start dropping those
that's a very
uh,
great point, and
pounds of fat.
hardly anyone talks about that. That's a
And
very
also, I
great
wanted
point.
to weigh in
Yeah.
on this. Yeah, that's such an understated point. In fact, I got to start making some content on that, because that is such an understated, underestimated, and overlooked, honestly, tip in the fitness industry, especially when we're talking weight loss and fat loss. Now, I got to admit to you, I got to weigh in on this, no pun intended, but I got to really weigh in that when you are weighing yourself on the scale and you're trying to lose weight, specifically fat weight, which is what most people are trying to lose, uh, understand that weight loss itself, like on the scale, can encompass three different main things. Number one, it could mean water weight, could mean your muscle weight, and your fat weight. So it encompasses more than just one or two of them. It literally covers all three. So when people are looking at the scale and the scale's not always moving and it's staying the same sometimes, maybe for a week or two, that's not always bad. In fact, that can be good, because that means your body is likely gaining muscle and you're losing fat. because muscle is, more dense than fat is. And as long as, and a really great telltale sign for this is, as long as you are looking at yourself in the mirror and you're also paying close attention, and this is really key, listen up here, paying close attention to how your clothes are fitting and feeling, and if you have a measuring tape, even better. And if you're seeing the measuring, go down in your waist, let's say the measurements are going down in your waist, you're just feeling better in your clothes, more confident, and the mirror's showing that you have some definition, especially even if it's not a lot of definition, if you're just seeing certain things change the way you want them to, then you can be 100% confident and certain that you are indeed and in fact burning fat and honestly gaining muscle at the same time a little bit, because that is possible.
That
So
is
that's
really
why the
hopeful
scale doesn't
because
always move.
people
So
get
that's good to
frustrated.
know for
They
anyone listening.
and they don't realize whatever situation they are in, it didn't happen overnight. It is like decades of chronic overeating caused them over there, and they want to
Yep.
see the result
Yeah.
in one day or one week. Give me a break. It is not possible. Yeah, and even if the scale doesn't move, yeah, you
Yeah.
explained it
It's
so well.
insane.
Means basically people shouldn't lose hope. And at that point, I really feel you should have a trainer, you should have a mentor, because then he can tell you exactly what is happening, because you're not expert at it. That's why you are in the situation. So you should get help from a trainer, and especially, hey, someone like you online who can help them at their own convenience. So it is so needed. And when you were mentioning about the side effects, I remember I was doing PhD in pharmacology back home in India, and I was going through all these side effects, and I asked my guide, why do we prescribe these medicines? They are full of side effects. So that time my guide told me these medicines are designed only for emergency, any medicine, and none of the medicine is supposed to be used more than a week. And then I started working in a major pharmaceutical
Yeah.
company into R&D, and their approach was how to put someone on a medicine for lifelong. And then I realized this is a totally mismatch, this industry. And that's why from that point on I
Right.
was really interested into prevention and holistic approach. And that's why, means basically, I appreciate the kind of work you are doing, because I understand the value, because I have seen the worst side. So now I understand the value, and it is really good you are bringing it to the people so that they don't have to go through what you and I we have gone through, and we learned it in a hard way. We are giving them on a silver platter, really.
Yeah.
And that is really amazing. So I have
Exactly.
actually, our time is almost getting up, but still I have two questions. One first question means basically, if someone
Yep.
wants to do your program, what all the equipments they should have at home, because uh, how can they work with you?
Yeah, for sure. So what's really cool and honestly very great about my program is honestly, it's not a one size fits all, but it does cater to anyone and everyone, no matter what equipment you have or don't have. So whether you have a lot of barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, and just everything from a gym at home, or you go to the gym, or maybe you're at home and you only have resistance bands, or maybe you only work out at home and you don't have anything but your body weight. You can also do some calisthenics and body weight training and exercises. So definitely, no matter the equipment or lack
Okay,
of
thank you. That is
equipment,
really
you
great.
can
And
definitely work with me.
wanted to ask you, you have a gift for other people. Here it says that Romans coaching application, and I know you are busy, so you are not accepting everyone. But this is a free evaluation. So will you please elaborate more on that? Can you just tell what this evaluation is, and what do people gain from this evaluation?
Definitely, yeah. So if you're really 100% interested and serious to you in your fitness goals and achieving those said fitness goals, then all you got to do is go to my website at romanfisherofficial.com. And when you go there, you can actually personally fill out a quick, evaluation form or consultation form, basically. And what that does is that lets me get more familiar with who you are, your background, your fitness goals, your fitness journey, and honestly, just more about you in general. What type of results do you really want? How comfortable are you with your body? And how comfortable would you be getting life changing results? And would you be interested in seeing some really, really profound results in not a quick 100% overnight amount of time, but in a relatively decent amount of time? So it just really gets me more familiar with
Yeah,
you
so
and
I
your
really
goals,
wanted to
essentially.
address these three testimonials which we have posted here on the wall. Can you give me little bit information about them, at what stage they were, and how much time they took to show this transformation, so that audience can get some hope?
Oh yeah, for sure. So right here in the middle, as you can see, right in the dead center, that's my client, awesome client Pamela. She actually, in that
Oh,
that picture
two
right there,
months! Oh my
literally in two
goodness!
months, she dropped 21 pounds. In 2 months, 8 weeks, 2 months, right there in that picture, the before and after, that's literally only 2 months apart from each other. And she literally dropped 21 pounds of mainly fat weight, as you can see. I mean, she dropped that, got so much definition, a lot of toning on her physique. You can even see some abdominal definition on the sides, in her oblique area. And she just looks so much happier, better, just more physically fit, and
So did she
overall
do any
healthier and happier.
extraordinary
So
workout?
it's
Because,
truly amazing
or
and that just
it
shows
looks
that.
like really impossible for me. So did she do any extraordinary workout? What kind of workout she did?
Yeah, for sure. Well, what she did mainly was circuit training, and then she did some cardio after her weights. Nothing super intense, but just enough where she could burn enough calories each day throughout the week. And then, of course, was eating a consistently healthy, higher protein and lower calorie, not too low, but low enough
No,
where she would be in that
the circuit
deficit
training is
without being
amazing,
too low,
because
but low enough where she could
people I
get to her
see, they
goals.
are just there on the treadmill for hours and hours and hours, going nowhere. Instead of that, just half an hour of circuit training,
Exactly.
that can
Crazy.
be game changing. That can be life changing. But of course, it has to be done under
Oh,
guidance.
yeah.
Because if you do it on your own, first of all, you are not that much knowledgeable, and even you can hurt yourself. Means I'm just telling you my experience. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then, okay. What about other two?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the one right directly above me, actually right here, that is one of my other clients, Paul. So he's done a great deal. Of course, similar to Pamela, he also got definition, toned up, lost weight, specifically fat weight, and a lot of fat loss there. Now, of course, wasn't as drastic
Oh
of a
no, we
change, but you
see
can
the
definitely
tummy
see
area.
the
It is
the,
tummy
the
disappear.
definition
So
change and
that is,
abdominal.
I think
Uh,
that is anyone's dream goal, to get rid of the tummy. Yeah.
yes. And what's cool about him is, it's very similar as far as the timing went, but this was about 2.5 months in. So it was a little longer for him, but not much longer. And he literally still dropped, a good 5 pounds at least, just between there and there. And honestly, looks and feels better than he ever did. He even gained a little bit of muscle and strength, but you can really definitely see, of course, the definition and overall, just the toning in his abdominal area. So it's amazing seeing how just much energy he also developed with that. And then to the very top right, that is one of my other awesome clients, Tom. And so he actually not so much burnt fat, but he did lose a little fat along the way, as you can definitely see there. But he also really, really gained that muscle and strength. And you can definitely see that in his arms, he definitely got that strength and that muscle. So that was his program. The other two are more definition and fat loss. He was had some fat loss, but it was more focused on muscle growth and strength gains. So that was the setup with him. And so he actually managed over the course of the 12 weeks we worked together, gained about 10 pounds of no, close to 10 pounds of muscle. Not exactly, but pretty close. And definitely got a lot stronger, a lot bigger, and just a lot healthier too. Oh, I gotta also say this. Of course, you can't tell by the photo, but he also his blood work when his doctor got it in, it actually came back. Uh, and he this hasn't been the case for him since he was in high school, but it came back
This
as
is
if he
clearly
was also in high
anti-aging.
schoul
This is
again.
really
Like his
anti-aging.
blood work
Everybody
was
is
it
looking for
was insane.
anti-aging solution. So this is anti-aging. And as we age, we lose muscle. So this muscle building activity,
Yeah.
that's really amazing. That is really great. And thank you for coming on our show, and thank you for
Oh yeah.
enriching our life. And I'll be putting all the information in the description, but if you want to say any final words, how can people contact you? I mean, of course, they will fill out the evaluation form. I'll be putting your website also into the description. But if you want to have any additional information, how they can contact you either on social media or anything, yeah, please mention.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So if you want to connect with me one on one personally, you can actually find me at
Oh,
Facebook,
wow.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and even LinkedIn. All at all across the board. Yeah, on Roman Fisher Official or at Roman Fisher Official. So that's my literally my social media handle on all platforms. So very consistent there, like with my fitness. And then on top of that, I also, of course, have my website, romanfisherofficial.com, and that's where you can go to see my client results and testimonials such as these. And then, of course, my own transformation beyond that. And then from there, if you need some help with your fitness goals, then you can actually fill out a quick application form or evaluation form. And then from there, we'll
Thank you.
definitely
Thank you.
discuss your
Really
goals further and
appreciate
how
you
I can
being
help you.
here. Thank you and God bless you. And just I will keep on watching you transforming more and more lives in future, and keep up the good work. Thanks. Thanks for being on our show, and yeah, blessing all of our audiences. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We are blessed to have you as part of our community, and whatever way we can help you, serve you, let us know. Please subscribe and let us know how we can help you, what resources you want. We have lots of free resources and also free collaboration joint venture groups you can join and explode your business, because most solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first products, and I don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we have special launch service where you can monetize your digitals and become profitable as fast as within 7 days. And if you want to scale your business, join our membership New Beginning Success Collaboration, where we'll provide you MRR and PLR products and collaborations so that you can scale your business with ease and effortlessly. And hey, if you want to sell your digitals all over the world, yes, we will provide you affiliates more than 200 countries. So everything is possible. Just live your dream, follow your dream, and whichever way we can help you, do let us know. Thank you and God bless you.